the first day we got together. I told my girlfriend, I don't mind if you seek thrills elsewhere, but absolutely don't bring it in front of me. Otherwise, I will disappear completely. So, after that, even though she fell for an internet celebrity sign with her company, she only set up a separate love nest with him on the side. She spoiled the boy, giving him anything he wanted, but the one thing she didn't allow was for him to cause trouble in front of me. But this time, the boy was very disobedient, relying on her affection for him. He sent me 72 intimate photos, each one different. In each photo, there was a used contraceptive. Then a provocative message was sent, Mr. Cheng. Has CEO Shen ever done this with you? It's because you're physically weak. These physical matters can only be handled by me for you. It was only then that I realized the girl who once only had eyes for me gave her love to me, but gave her body to someone else. I looked at those photos and cried until I had no tears left. Then at dawn, I walked into an organization. Mr. Cheng, this is the fake death service you pre-booked with us. The time of death is in half a month. During the wedding, the method of death is suicide by jumping into the sea. The person faking their death is you. Please confirm and sign here. I nodded and signed my name at the bottom of the document on the bustling street. I walked home alone. I looked up and saw on the advertising screen of a nearby building, a video of Shen Jiyi confessing her love to me was playing. A beautiful moment that made the two girls next to me emotionally hug each other tightly, constantly expressing their envy. I lowered my head to hide my self-mocking gaze. Everyone was envious of the love between me and Shen Jiyi. They all said Shen Jiyi was madly in love with me, so no one would have thought that such a woman could hide from me the fact that she was keeping an internet celebrity for 3 full years. When I discovered that countless times, on the night she said she had work at the company, she was actually entangled with that internet celebrity, my heart felt like it was pierced by a blade, bleeding profusely, torn to shreds. While looking at those unbearable photos, I vaguely remembered when I was 15. My parents got divorced. Both sides fought to the death just to avoid raising me. That's when Shen Jiyi pushed open the door and walked in. She took my hand and said word by word, if they don't want you, I will. And from that day on, Shen Jiyi gave her entire heart only to me. She cried while kissing me, her words filled with pleas, begging me to love her for a lifetime, begging me to never leave her. If I really left Shen Jiyi, Shen Jiyi would go crazy. She was the one who said she couldn't leave me, but now she's the first one to betray me. Since it has come to this, I will fake my death to escape, change my name, and completely disappear from her world, so that she can never find me again. Just as I was about to walk away, the Maybach in front of me suddenly screeched to a halt. A slender figure opened the back door and trotted towards me. Why you, Zhu? Didn't you say you'd wait for me at home? To wait for me to finish work so we could go for our wedding attire fitting? Why did you run out here all by yourself? Shen Jiyi said as she took my hand. Your hands are so cold. You're not even wearing a coat. Are you trying to get sick and worry me to death? I said nothing, just lowered my head and looked at her quietly. The concern in her eyes for me didn't seem fake, and because of that, I understood even less. How a person could love 2 people at the same time. As Shen Jiyi was about to pull me into the car, the 2 girls across the street heard the commotion and reflexively turned their heads to look. When they clearly saw who it was, their eyes suddenly lit up. They walked over excitedly, her face flushed red, stuttering, "Hello, excuse me. Are you Cheng Huai Ishu and Shen Jiyi? We're your CP fans. Can we take a picture with you too?" I didn't want to disappoint them. After a moment of silence, I finally nodded, having gotten permission. The 2 girls stood between us, looking at the camera. Shen Jiyi doesn't like taking pictures, but she still obediently wrapped her arm around me and looked at the camera with me. After the picture was taken, the 2 girls blushed again. They thanked us repeatedly. In their words, they both hoped we would grow old together and have a happy marriage. I looked up at Shen Jiyi beside me. The moment our eyes met, she gave me a doting smile. Her affection flowed like water, as if she agreed with the 2 girls' words. Only I knew we wouldn't be able to grow old together. I looked back at Shen Jiyi behind me. She was looking at something on her phone. Her eyes were filled with unconcealable joy. This look in her eyes, I had only ever seen it in the bedroom photos of her with that handsome boy. When she noticed my gaze, she quickly put her phone away and came closer. Her face showed a bit of guilt. Why you? I'm sorry. Something urgent came up at the company that I need to handle. I'll have the driver wait for you here. Just have him take you home later. Okay? After saying that, she hurriedly got into another car, leaving me all alone. I withdrew my gaze and got into the car to go home. As soon as I opened my phone, a message from Song Jin Nian popped up. It was a screenshot of a chat. I turned off the screen and closed my eyes, trying to suppress the sharp pain in my heart. I thought I had seen so many photos that my heart would get used to it, that it would become numb, but the irrepressible pain still engulfed my whole body, seeping into my very bones. Finally, I forced myself to close my eyes and turn off my phone. Late at night, I curled up and fell asleep by the bed, and the phone by my pillow vibrated once every hour. It wasn't until I woke up the next morning and opened it that I discovered. From last night until this morning, Song Jinyan, every hour, sent me a photo. They were all used condoms. Last night, I made love to her all night, right on top of her. We tried all sorts of positions. She couldn't even get out of bed. Has she ever been like that with you? I didn't take any action, but I kept looking at these photos over and over and read that sentence dozens of times. When Shen Ji returned, she found me lying in bed, the corners of my eyes red. My knuckles were white from gripping my phone. Her heart suddenly pounded. She rushed over, her voice full of worry. Huai Shu, what's wrong? Only then did I come back to my senses. I looked at her and smiled faintly, but the smile couldn't hide the sadness in my eyes. It's nothing. I was just looking at a very moving photo set. Shen Ji caressed my face and said gently, Huai Xu, yesterday was my fault for leaving you alone on the street. To make it up to you, I'll take you to an auction. I'll buy you whatever you want, okay? I didn't answer, but she took it as my agreement and linked her arm with mine, leading me out of the room. She even personally picked out my clothes, tie, and shoes at the auction to make me happy. During the entire first half of the auction, Shen Ji generously spent money buying all the treasures, even though I had no interest in those things. The second half of the auction began. Just then, the large door suddenly opened. A man in a blue coat walked in. Immediately, I felt Shen Ji's body beside me stiffen. I looked up. Song Jinian's handsome face appeared right before my eyes. He walked straight over and sat next to Shen Ji. The people present who witnessed this scene all took a sharp breath, speculating about Song Jinian's identity. How could this internet celebrity be so bold, daring to sit next to CEO Shen? Isn't he afraid that CEO Shen will get angry and blacklist him? Keep your voice down. What do you know? I heard he has a big shot backing him. I was just about to look away when I saw Song Jinian brazenly take Shen Ji's hand. Shen Ji's hands suddenly stiffened. She instinctively wanted to pull it back, but Song Jinian smiled and held it tight. During the second half of the auction, my mind was always wandering. After the auction ended, Shen Ji discreetly pulled her hand back and lightly kissed me. Be good. Wait for me here. I am going to get that watch for you. I watched her get up and leave. Then, Song Jinian, who was opposite us, also stood up. He gave me a meaningful look. After everyone had left, I finally relaxed my clenched fist. My nails had dug deep into my flesh, drawing drops of blood, but I seemed to feel no pain. I stood up and walked out. On the phone screen in my hand, which hadn't been turned off, there was a read message. Staring blankly at the scene before me, perhaps because all the guests had left. The empty parking lot only had one Maybach left. If anyone tried to get close, they would be called back by the young driver standing in the distance and tactfully advised to leave. So no one noticed the car rocking gently. A woman's moans and a man's soft groans intertwined and reached my ears. I suddenly lost all my strength. Powerlessly, I leaned against a pillar, staring blankly at the scene before me. The rear door of the car was wide open. The two people inside were entangled, completely naked. Shen Ji's legs were locked tightly around the man's thin waist. Too rough, be a little gentler. I couldn't watch anymore. I turned and stumbled away from the scene. I don't know how long I ran. Finally, I collapsed in the stairwell, pressing hard on my heart, and bent over, gasping for breath. A tear slipped from the corner of my eye. I thought the scene at the auction was painful enough, but the sight of Shen Ji and Song Jinian in the car was even more suffocating. When I was with Shen Ji, she was terrifyingly innocent. Holding her hand would make her blush. Kissing her would make her tremble. Even our first time, I had to hold back, waiting until she agreed to my proposal to touch her. But now, reality has slapped me in the face. I covered my face in despair. I don't know how much time passed. I finally stood up, numb, and walked towards the restroom. Just then, the phone in my hand vibrated. Song Jinian sent another picture after they were done. The backseat of the car was a mess. In the corner of the car was a pile of torn pantyhose. This car is filled with our scent. Also, she agreed to give me the watch. Now that token of love is mine. I didn't look anymore. I turned off the phone directly. When I had composed myself and left the restroom, I finally ran into Shen Ji, who was looking for me. Her hands were indeed bare, with nothing on them. A second later, she hugged me. A faint fishy smell hit my nose. I was just about to push her away. Her apologetic voice sounded, Huai Xu, that watch has a flaw. It's not suitable for you. Next time, I'll buy you a more magnificent one, okay? I took a deep breath and said softly, what if that's the only one I want? Shen Ji looked at my cold face. Her heart felt like it was being squeezed by something. She quickly and gently coaxed, darling, Huai Xu, that watch really isn't suitable for you. I'll send someone to buy another one right now and give it to you, okay? Hearing this, I laughed. In the past, whatever I wanted, she would give it to me immediately. Now, when I want something, she refuses me in every way for another man, not just her body. It seems her heart is gone too. Seeing me like this, her heart ached as well. Just as she was about to say something more, I pushed her away. My words carried a hint of weariness. Fine. I don't want it anymore. Seeing my disappointed back as I left, she instinctively wanted to chase after me. Suddenly, I saw her stop. I followed her gaze. I saw Song Jinian happen to be walking past us. On his wrist was that watch. Her face suddenly turned pale. Just as she was about to say something, I acted as if I hadn't seen anything. I walked straight past Song Jinian's shoulder and left. When my figure had completely disappeared, Shen Ji tightly grabbed Song Jinian's arm. Are you crazy? I already told you. Don't appear in front of Huai Zhu. He is my bottom line. Song Jinian was scolded, but he didn't look apologetic at all. He just smiled slightly. Sorry, didn't he fail to notice? I won't do it again next time. After speaking, he leaned in close to Shen Ji's ear and whispered, to make it up to you. How about I compensate you tonight? I have an even bigger surprise. Shen Ji was silent for a moment. Her eyes gradually darkened. That night, Shen Ji didn't come home. She only left a message saying the company had urgent business to handle. I knew she was lying, but I didn't question her, nor did I make a fuss. Instead, I quietly handled my own affairs. Since I decided to fake my death to leave Shen Ji forever, I had to erase all traces of myself in this world. At that time, aside from a fake corpse, I wouldn't leave her with any memories. I spent a full 3 hours organizing, and finally pulled out all my things to burn them. After that, I pulled a large box from the bottom of the bookshelf. Inside were the birthday gifts that Shen Ziyi had given me over the past 10 years. When I was 17, Shen Ji gave me my first love letter. Her naive handwriting held a deep love. When I was 18, Shen Ji gave me the first pair of custom sneakers of my life. She said she wanted to walk the rest of life's path with me. When I was 24, she gave me diamond cufflinks. She said I would always be the little prince in the palm of her hand. When I was 28, she gave me a wedding ring she designed and crafted herself. She said I had finally reached the legal age to marry. Without any sentimentality, I packed up all these gifts and listed them online, all for 9.9 yuan, shipping included, worth hundreds of millions, but sold for only 9.9 yuan. Very quickly, the gifts I posted online were all sold out. I called for someone to come. After they collected the items, I was about to go back to my room to rest, when the main door was forcefully pushed open. Shen Ji, bringing the wind and rain with her, rushed in from outside in a panic. Her trembling voice grabbed my hand. Why? You sold all the gifts I gave you for 9.9 yuan. What does that mean? I looked up at her. She looked like she had just rushed back at top speed. Her outer coat was soaked. She didn't care. Her face was full of panic. I asked softly, how did you know? Public opinion spreads fast. This matter is already trending. I was about to say something. She immediately hugged me tightly. Her words were trembling with fear. I Huck, what do you mean? You sold all those things. Do you want to leave me? You don't want me anymore, right? What did I do wrong? Don't leave me. Ill change. Okay? As she spoke, her voice was tinged with tears, but I just calmly looked ahead. My eyes held a hint of self-mockery. So afraid that I would leave. Then why keep a man on the side? Was she too confident, thinking she hid it so well? Or did she think I was too stupid to find out? Now she just senses that I want to leave, and she's panicking like this. I was really looking forward to it. How she would look when she saw my body at the wedding. I slowly pushed her away. With a calm expression, I said, it's not what you think. I just didn't like them. So, I sold them. Besides, we're about to get married. Why would I leave you for no reason? Have you done anything to wrong me? Famchini initially heard the first part. Her tense heart suddenly relaxed. She was about to breathe a sigh of relief, but when she heard the second half of the sentence, she couldn't help it. Her expression changed slightly, and she gripped my hand tightly. She repeatedly swore, no. Darling, I've absolutely done nothing to wrong you. You know how much I love you. I smirked. A smile appeared on my face. Since there's nothing, what are you worried about? Anyway, it's late. I should go rest. After saying that, I turned and left. Famchini's heart was in a frantic panic, but she still told herself it was okay. They were about to get married. Soon, Hoi Huck would be hers. Nothing would happen because of my series of unexpected actions. Famxingyi felt a constant, baseless unease in her heart, so much so that she stayed by my side all night, until dawn. Famxingyi's phone lit up. The moment she opened her phone, the sleepiness in her eyes instantly vanished. She glanced at the boy beside her. After kissing me, she stealthily got out of bed. Immediately after, I also opened my eyes. I looked at my phone. Just now, my phone received a message from the fake death organization. It said that at the hospital morgue, they had found a body that looked very much like me. The details have been handled. They hoped I could come to the scene to take a look, to see if anything needed improvement. Inside the morgue lay a corpse. Its facial features were extremely similar to mine. If I weren't standing here, I would really think the body before me was my own. It seemed Famxingyi wouldn't have any suspicions then. Now everything was ready, just waiting for the day of action. After a brief exchange with the staff, I returned to the first floor. Just as I was passing the obstetrics department, I happened to glance inside. Just one look, and I froze on the spot. Not far away, Tong Kam Nian was supporting Tham Qingyi, whose belly was slightly protruding, coming out of the Objin clinic. I saw Tong Kam Nian treating her like a precious treasure, carefully helping Tham Qingyi walk out, his face filled with the joy of an expectant father. Tham Qingyi was pregnant. The child was Tong Kam Nian's. They had a child. I don't know how I got back to the villa. The villa was pitch black. I was the only one there. The phone screen lit up, flickering with a faint light. Just as the phone screen was about to turn off, the screen suddenly showed a message from Song Jin Nian. It was a pregnancy test report, along with a live stream link. She's pregnant, exactly 3 months along. The baby's mother is very happy. Oh, tonight I'll be live streaming with the baby's mother to share this happy news with the fans. If you're happy for us too, you can come to our live stream room. My stiff fingers moved. A chill immediately spread from my fingertips to my heart. When I clicked on Song Jin Nian's live stream room, I instinctively pressed the record button at the top of the screen. Very quickly, Shen Ji appeared in a maternity dress, her face covered, appearing in front of the camera. She had the smile of a mother-to-be, and Song Jin Nian was holding the pregnancy test report, sharing the joy of becoming a father with his fans. The comment section was filled with blessings. Suddenly, a slender hand appeared next to Song Jin Nian. That hand was especially familiar to me. I had held that hand, kissed that hand. She had worn a ring, but now, that hand was gently caressing her belly. Even if you don't rest, the baby in your belly needs to rest. Be good, let's go to sleep. Hearing such a gentle and pleasant voice, the fans went crazy. They all demanded that Song Jin Nian let her show her face. Among the countless comments asking her to show her face, a comment suddenly appeared. Did I hear that wrong? Why does this voice sound so much like CEO Shen? But this comment was quickly buried by other comments. Song Jin Nian, let Shen Ji hold his hand. Your big sister can't conveniently show her face. She's a big shot, so please understand. Fortunately, the comments no longer dwelled on this issue. Instead, they clamored to ask Song Jin Nian how he got together with her. After many similar comments were sent one after another, Song Jin Nian gave a meaningful look to his side, then smiled and said to the fans, your big sister, she loves me too much. In high school, she gave me a love letter. She was afraid I would reject her. She spent a whole day preparing and stuttering. She even rehearsed it dozens of times. In the end, I was the one who took the initiative to accept her love letter and told her I agreed. As soon as he finished speaking, fans continuously posted comments, so sweet, so sweet. I am melting. My hand holding the phone suddenly tightened. An indescribable bitterness rose in my heart. Just how much did Shen Ji love Song Jin Nian? To tell him about their past together, Song Jin Nian suddenly said he wanted to end the broadcast. The fans were listening with great interest. They all expressed their reluctance. Song Jin Nian looked awkwardly to the side again. He raised his hands helplessly and said shyly, it's not that I want to stop the broadcast. It's that your big sister is clinging to me. She said it's time for our little couple's intimate moments. Understanding the implication, the fans started cheering, saying they wanted to join in too. Song Jin Nian chuckled. He covered his mouth and refused. I don't want to corrupt the young ones, a fan suggested. Just turning off the video but not the audio would be fine. Just as Song Jin Nian was about to say something, Shen Ji reached out and turned off the screen. Next, a surprised cry was heard. Ah, the child. The fans immediately went into a frenzy. My hand holding the phone began to tremble, but the suggestive sounds of Shen Ji and Song Jin Nian still passed through the thin screen and into my ears, then turned into sharp blades, stabbing fiercely into my heart. And in the video, their voices grew louder and louder. I can't eat anymore. Be good. Can't you eat this? I couldn't watch anymore. I abruptly turned off the phone. I stared at the dark ceiling. A long time passed before I could move my stiff fingers. Soon, it'll be leaving soon. In the following days, Shen Ji never came back. Where the villa was, Song Jin Nian's message had, give me an answer. As my birthday approached, Shen Ji finally hurried back. She prepared a grand birthday party for me. When I came down wearing a suit, Shen Ji was waiting downstairs. She looked up at me. Her eyes were exceptionally calm. So calm it was unsettling. Shen Ji saw me like this. Her heart, once full of anticipation, suddenly skipped a beat in her memory. I was always sunny and cheerful, not pale-faced like. Now, my eyes empty and lifeless. She instinctively tried to hug me, but I turned to avoid her. My voice was hoarse. I haven't been feeling well lately. Don't touch me. It wouldn't be good if I got you sick. After saying that, I didn't even look at her hand frozen in midair. I turned and walked away. Throughout the party, I was like an outsider, watching Shen Ji celebrate my birthday as she always did, professing her deep love for me. The last important part, of course, was my birthday gift. Every year, she would give me a meticulously prepared birthday gift. Every gift was one of a kind. This time, it was a watch from European royalty, priceless and unavailable on the market. The moment she took it out, I heard everyone in the hall gasp in astonishment. I lowered my head to hide the sarcastic look in my eyes. I didn't accept the watch Shen Ji offered. Shen Ji didn't think too much of it. She just assumed I wasn't feeling well because I was sick. After putting the watch on for me, she ended the party early, intending to take me home to rest. But as soon as she got me into the car, Shen Ji's phone rang. She glanced at it, then said to me apologetically, darling, I have something I need to take care of. You go home and rest well first. I'll come be with you after I am done, okay? I didn't expose her. I nodded, with my permission. She turned and left, and the moment she got out of the car, a text from Song Jin Nian arrived right on time, sent to my phone. Follow her, and there'll be a surprise waiting for you. I was silent for a long time. Finally, I told the driver to turn the car around, to follow Shen Ji's car. Soon, I saw Shen Ji's car stop in front of Song Jin Nian's villa. She didn't even have time to close the car door before rushing into the 70 Picas Ord Vive Commune villa. I gripped the phone tightly in my hand and got out of the car as well. Perhaps because she was in such a hurry. The villa's main door wasn't fully closed. I looked up and peered inside. When I saw the scene inside clearly, I immediately froze on the spot. Inside was a birthday party. Not only that, besides Shen Ji and Song Jin Nian, The people at the party also included all of Shen Jiyi's friends. Even her parents were there. My instincts told me to leave quickly, because if I didn't leave, I absolutely couldn't bear what was about to happen. But my feet felt nailed to the ground, making me unable to move. I just stood there, watching helplessly, as Shen Jiyi put an identical watch on Song Jin Nian's wrist. Her friends beside them also chimed in, teasing, "Brother-in-law looks so good wearing it." Hearing that, Shen Jiyi shot them a cold glance. "What nonsense are you calling him? You only have one brother-in-law." Her friends then made a zipping motion with their hands. "Don't worry, Sister Shen. We only call him that in private. We won't let your precious darling find out. Our lips are sealed. Ever since Sister Shen brought him to introduce to us half a year ago, we've already sealed our lips tightly." Mother Shen also walked over. She gave the Shen family's heirloom jade amulet to Song Jin Nian. "Even though you're always hidden in the shadows, but as long as Ji's child is born, in my heart, you are also my son-in-law." I couldn't bear to listen to the rest of their words. My clenched fist suddenly relaxed. Then, without a word, I turned and left. That conversation just now made it clear to me. They knew about Song Jin Nian's existence long before I did, but they all helped Shen Jiyi hide it from me. I was the only fool in the entire world. I just squatted on the street like that. People hurried past, but no one came to hold an umbrella for me. After this heavy rain, I became seriously ill. The high fever wouldn't break. I was delirious. In the villa, Shen Jiyi's angry voice growled. "He's had a fever for 3 days. Why hasn't it broken yet?" The doctors all stammered, but no one could state the cause. The atmosphere in the room was so heavy it was suffocating. Finally, her face darkened. She waved her hand, dismissing everyone. Then she sat down in the chair again, holding my hand. The corners of her eyes were red. "My love, please get well soon." But the man on the bed remained pale. His eyes were tightly shut, showing no reaction. Another night passed. I finally broke the fever and woke up in a daze. But I found myself completely weak. My throat was also dry and bitter. I tried to make a sound, but a loud crash suddenly came from outside the door. Then Shen Jiyi's suppressed voice came through the door, reaching my ears. "Didn't I tell you not to appear in front of him?" Then came Song Jin Nian's aggrieved voice. "But the baby in your belly wants to see its father. I also brought you a surprise. Do you want to see it?" After that, only the rustling of clothes could be heard from outside the door, and soft, hurried breaths. "What kind of clothes are you wearing?" Song Jin Nian chuckled. His voice was so soft it could make one's knees go weak. "I don't you like it?" The only answer I got was a woman's moan. I couldn't listen anymore. I was about to bury myself under the covers. The door was suddenly pushed open. "It's so cold outside. Can we come inside to sit?" My eyes widened as I looked at the reflection in the glass window. I saw in the dim light, 2 entangled figures fell onto the sofa at the corner of my bed. The rain outside grew heavier. Through the glass window, it seemed you could hear the pattering of the rain. A cold draft seeped in from the unclosed window. The feeling was bone-chilling, making my heart grow colder and colder. After just recovering from a serious illness, my whole body felt even weaker. There was no longer any light in my eyes. I wrapped myself in a thick blanket, curled up on the long chair, staring blankly at the scenery outside the window. Compared to my calmness, Shen Jiyi beside me was full of anxiety and panic. Since I woke up, I've barely eaten anything. No matter how she coaxed me, I remained unmoved. Bowl after bowl of stomach-soothing porridge was replaced, but I remained in the same position, without even giving her a single glance. Shen Jiyi was extremely anxious, seeing that the wedding was tomorrow. I was still in a listless state. Shen Jiyi was panicking. Inside, she tried to suppress the strange feeling. She walked over to me, kneeling down. Her words carried a plea. "Why, Shu? Can you eat something? I know you have no appetite because you're sick, but your health is important. I was so scared when you had a fever. If anything else happens, it'll really go crazy." My eyes twitched. A hint of mockery appeared in my eyes. I set my gaze upon her, but my voice was so distant. "Shen Jiyi, take me to the sea once." Shen Jiyi's outstretched hand stiffened slightly. She looked at me in astonishment. "Darling, aren't you afraid of water? So you've never liked the sea before?" I spoke softly. "Suddenly, I want to go see it. After all, my plan to fake my death is to commit suicide by jumping into the sea." Hearing this, Shen Jiyi said nothing. She just immediately told the butler to prepare the car. She held my hand tightly the entire way, and I didn't pull away like before. Shen Jiyi saw that I was a bit more obedient. Shen Jiyi's eyes immediately filled with a hint of a smile. She emotionally recalled our past romantic memories. Back then, her eyes only had me in them. So even the details I was about to forget, she still remembered every single one clearly. The car stopped at the seashore. She looked into my eyes, filled with deep love. "I will love you forever." I smiled along with her. It was just a smile mixed with a bit of mockery. "You lie so much. You've even managed to deceive yourself." The two of them stood on the beach, leaning against each other, silently watching the calm sea before them, enjoying the peaceful moment. Just then, Shen Ji's phone suddenly vibrated continuously. Without looking, she immediately hung up. But the person on the other end was persistent, calling one time after another. Finally, she glanced at the caller's name, then walked aside to answer the phone. I don't know what the person on the other end said. Shen Ji's expression changed slightly. At the same time, I also received a message from Song Jinian. "Cheng Huai XU. So what if you two are getting married tomorrow? Do you believe it? With just one call from me, she will immediately run to my side. If you know what's good for you, you should give up your position to me soon. This wasn't the first time Song Jinian had forced me to step aside, but it was the first time I replied, Song Jinian, all right then, as you wish. A second later, the woman who had just hung up the phone hurried back. Her face was filled with guilt again. Huai Shu, I am sorry. I have something urgent at the company. Shen Ji, do you still remember the day I successfully proposed? What I said to you? My sudden question made her heart clench. You said if one day my heart changed, I should tell you. You wouldn't hold me back, but if I lied to you, you would leave me forever? My eyes held a hint of a smile, but that smile didn't reach my eyes. Shen Ji suddenly clenched her phone. She was silent for a long time, before she spoke with a tremble. Huai Zhu, I love you so much. How could I possibly lie to you? In an instant, the last bit of love I had for her completely vanished. I chuckled softly. Don't you have something to do at the company? Why haven't you left? Shen Ji looked at my calm expression. A baseless panic enveloped her entire body. She suddenly didn't dare to leave. She was afraid that if she left this time, they would never meet again. But remembering the recent phone call, her hand holding the phone relaxed. Huai Zhu is here. What could possibly happen? Besides, they were getting married tomorrow. Thinking of this, she breathed a sigh of relief. Huai Xu, come home early after you're done watching the sea. We'll see each other at the wedding tomorrow. After saying that, she turned and got in the car, completely disappearing from my sight. I just stood there, silently watching her retreating figure, without stopping her, nor holding her back. 15 minutes later, a car stopped on the beach. A man stepped forward. Mr. Cheng, all of your information in the country has been completely erased. New ID card, a new phone and plane ticket have also been prepared for you. From now on, no one in the world will be able to find you. I lowered my head and took it. Then I gave my phone to the other person. Tomorrow, bring that fake body directly to the wedding venue. And this phone, help me deliver it to the bride in person. I want Shen Ji to know, these past few days, how Song Jinian has been relentlessly provoking me. I want her to know, when she lied again for another man, abandoned me. I committed suicide in the sea. I want her to know, today is the last time we'll see each other. For the rest of her life, Shen Ji must live in so much pain that she won't want to live. Devastated by this moment, after arranging everything, I took all the new identification documents and got into an unlicensed car heading to the airport. The dark night passed. A distant place will welcome the golden dawn. On the other side, the woman was crying and begging incessantly, but it didn't make the man on top of her any gentler. Song Jinian snorted softly. You're about to marry someone else. You should take this chance to make it up to me more. Her eyes were cold. She kissed him. I've said that besides a title, I can give you everything. And even if I get married, I'll still love you and the child. She gently stroked her pregnant belly. Song Jinian smiled charmingly. He held her waist tightly. Then you have to love me well. Song Jinian grabbed her hand with one of his, pressing it on his head, while his lower body moved more forcefully. The man's soft groans and the woman's moans intertwined once again. The night before the wedding, Shen Ji finally got out of Song Jinian's bed and began adjusting her wedding dress in front of the mirror. Looking at the man sleeping on the bed, her gaze softened. She kissed Song Jinian's lips, then quietly closed the bedroom door. Not until she was in the car on her way to the yacht. Did Shen Ji finally turn her phone back on after it had been off all night. She thought she would see countless messages I sent and countless calls. She had even prepared an excuse, but when she turned on her phone, her hand suddenly froze. The screen was empty. She hurriedly called my number again and again, but the other end kept ringing with no answer. Her heart suddenly panicked for no reason, but she still comforted herself. I haven't been feeling well these days, and maybe I'm resting now. Thinking of this, she placed the phone on her lap and looked up at the beach outside. Not far from the beach, several ambulances and police cars were parked near the shore. A crowd had gathered on the beach as if they had just pulled something out of the sea. Her heart skipped a beat. She instinctively looked away. The wedding venue was decorated with the blue roses I love and blue phalaenopsis orchids. Nearby, a famous pianist was playing my favorite piano piece. In the audience, guests and the media were all looking expectantly at the main entrance. Everything was beautiful. Now, only the groom was missing. The hands of the clock went round and round, but the main doors remained shut. No one pushed them open from the outside. The guests in the audience began to whisper. Shen Ji grew more and more anxious. Her clenched hands were covered in a cold sweat. Just as she was about to call me, the main doors suddenly swung open. A white figure slowly entered. She instinctively moved to greet it, but her steps suddenly faltered, because what entered was not the groom, but a white coffin. In front of the coffin were several staff members in mourning clothes. Shen Ji just stood there, watching blankly as the group carried the coffin. Step by step, they walked towards her. The moment they put the coffin down, she finally came to her senses. She shouted angrily, "Who are you? Do you know where you are? Get out of here right now." But the leader of the staff seemed not to hear. He walked up to her and bowed deeply. "Miss Shen, please accept our condolences." The anger in her eyes intensified. She grabbed the other person's collar with one hand. "What nonsense are you talking about? Get lost." She pushed him away. She was about to walk towards the coffin. The moment she saw the face of the person lying inside, Her whole body suddenly lost all strength. She collapsed to the ground. Huai Yishu, the staff member, walked over. His words were full of sorrow. Mr. Cheng Huaishu, due to severe depression, committed suicide by jumping into the sea 3 days ago. His body was only recovered by the police this morning. Please sign the death certificate. Shenji Yi couldn't hear anything anymore. She stared blankly at the person in the coffin, suddenly feeling a bit dazed. That wasn't her Huai XU. Now, the person lying in the coffin had a face full of wounds. His body, from being soaked in water for a long time, had become pale and bloated. So, how could the person inside possibly be her YUX? Her hands trembled. She forcefully pushed the coffin lid, wanting to get a clear look at the body, to find proof that it wasn't me. But she looked for a long time, and then painfully discovered the person inside was indeed me. Her trembling hand reached out to grab my hand. She reached out several times, but couldn't bring herself to touch my hand. Be good, Huaiyu Shu. Don't scare me. Please wake up, okay? This joke isn't funny at all. Her voice broke into a sob at the end of the sentence, but the person in the coffin didn't move at all. The staff member couldn't bear to watch. He walked over to console her. Miss, please restrain your grief. The urgent matter is to quickly sign the death certificate, so the deceased can rest in peace. Get lost. Shenji Yi, from some unknown source of strength, shoved the staff member hard. Who said he's dead? He's just sleeping. It's impossible. He loves me so much. How could he possibly be dead? Seeing her frantic state, the staff member handed my phone to her. Miss, this is the only item we found at the scene of the deceased. You should probably take a look. Shenji Yi was stunned, but she still took the phone and opened it. The disgusting and unbearable photos and words rushed into her sight. Filling the entire screen were photos and videos of her sleeping with Song Jinnian. Her face suddenly turned pale. He knew everything. Since when did he know? She frantically scrolled through the screen, finally reaching the very top. The time was 1 month ago. Song Jinnian had sent a picture of them in bed. Let me tell you a little secret. Your fiancé is in my bed, and the last message was from 3 days ago. Song Jinnian was provoking me. Cheng Huai XU. So what if you're getting married? With just one phone call from me, she will immediately run to my side. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and give your place to me. This wasn't the first time Song Jinnian had tried to force me to give up my place, but it was the first time I had replied to Song Jinnian. Fine, as you wish. Those few short words were like a bolt from the blue, causing her vision to darken in waves. Shenji Yi clutched her chest, gasping for breath. She could no longer hold back and let out a scream. The overwhelming pain seemed to swallow her whole, looking at Shenji Yi's devastated state. A hint of pity flashed in the staff member's eyes, but still gave her my depression report. Ma'am, according to the report, from the time Mr. Trin developed depression until he committed suicide, it was only 1 month. If there had been timely intervention, then Mr. Trin wouldn't have. The following words. The staff member. It didn't continue, but the meaning behind the words. Tham Chi-Ni also understood. She flipped through the thick depression diagnosis report. Every time I had an episode was clearly recorded on it. The first day I had an episode, my hand was cut with many wounds, but she was comforting Tong Cam Nian. On the day I attempted suicide and was found and taken to the hospital, Tham Chi-Ni was celebrating her pregnancy. She even live-streamed being intimate with him. The day I jumped into the sea to commit suicide, she was whispering sweet nothings to Tong Cam Nian, saying that even if we got married, she would still love him and the baby. Every time I attempted suicide due to depression, Tham Chi-Ni was always with that other man, and she never once noticed anything unusual about me. Even if she had some inkling, her heart was still pulled away by that other man. Tham Chi-Ni gripped the depression diagnosis report tightly. Her fingers trembled from the force. Tham Chi-Ni's tears fell, drop by drop, onto the cold, hard marble floor. Then she covered her face with both hands and sobbed uncontrollably. This wedding of the century finally turned into the funeral of the century. At the black and white funeral, Tham Chi-Ni stood beside my coffin with lifeless eyes, greeting each person who came to pay their respects. CEO Tham, please accept our condolences. Everyone who came to pay respects saw her condition. Their faces were full of regret. What a wonderful couple. How could they suddenly be separated by life and death? The rain poured down. Tham Chi-Ni fell heavily to her knees, kneeling before my tombstone. The name engraved in an artistic script on the tombstone pierced her eyes. She raised a trembling hand, gently caressing the name on the tombstone. Then she hugged the tombstone with all her might. Her forehead lightly touched the engraved name. Hoi Huk, I'm sorry. From that day on, Tham Chi-Ni locked herself in her room, spending all day with alcohol as her companion, hoping to get drunk enough to see me again. I don't know if it was because I was too disappointed in her. During all these days, not even once did I appear in her dreams. She threw the empty bottle in her hand, letting it roll clattering into a corner. A second later, a pale hand picked up the empty bottle. Qing-Yi, why are you drinking so much? She looked up, dazed. She saw a white figure standing before her. That appearance and that voice were both very similar to mine. Hoi Hook. She staggered up from the floor and hugged that person tightly. Hoi Hook, is that you? You've finally come to see me. Do you know how much I've missed you? Tong Cam Nien, in her arms, was startled by the sudden embrace. He couldn't help but let out a cry, but the person hugging him seemed not to hear anything. Still holding him, ceaselessly pouring out her regrets. Hearing her repeatedly call my name, a flash of hatred crossed Tong Kam Nien's eyes. Why did she still love him so much? He was clearly long dead. Couldn't Tham Chi turn around and see him? Besides, Tham Chi was carrying his child. Thinking of the child, he hid the hatred in his eyes and spoke gently. Chi, it's me. Kam Nien, like a heavy blow. It suddenly woke Tham Chi from her illusion. She abruptly let go of Tong Kam Nien. Her gaze gradually shifted from hazy to clear, and then to disgust and hatred. A second later, she reached out and tightly grabbed Tong Kam Nien's neck. Her eyes filled with a raging storm. Song Jin Nien, you're looking to die. The next second, she threw him hard onto the sofa. Song Jin Nien's whole body ached. His face was pale. He watched the woman walk over step by step. Ji Yi. You. What's wrong with you? Shen Ji Yi looked coldly at Song Jin Nien. There was no longer any trace of affection in her eyes. I warned you long ago. Don't show up in front of him. Why did you still provoke him? Do you know that the things you sent to Hue Xu could kill him? Song Jin Nien was stunned. He quickly struggled to sit up. Fear appeared in his eyes. With a thud, he knelt beside her. With tears in his eyes, Ji Yi, I didn't want this either. I just thought about how, after our child is born, they would call him Dad. I couldn't accept it. I don't want our child to have that kind of status. That's why I did those things. I know I was wrong. I beg you, for the sake of our child, can you forgive me? Song Jin Nien cried incessantly. He shook his head, hoping the person before him could be lenient this once, but he forgot that. Shen Ji Yi had been in the business world for many years. What she hated most was being threatened by others. What's more, this person was the culprit who killed her lover. She looked at Song Jin Nien for a long time. The handsome face she used to like the most had now become extremely ugly. A feeling of nausea welled up in her for no reason. Shen Ji Yi half-squatted. She used her hand to lift the chin of the person before her. She gave a cold laugh. Forgive you? Song Jin Nien's eyes immediately lit up. He knew Shen Ji Yi loved him so much. She couldn't bear to see him cry. Before a smile could form on his lips, he heard her voice, as if from hell. Then go down there yourself and atone to him. Song Jin Nien's face suddenly turned pale. Song Jin Nien kept begging the woman in front of him, pleading with Shen Ji Yi not to be so cruel, but Shen Ji Yi remained unmoved. Finally, he let go of his hand that was clutching her pant leg. He lowered his head. Suddenly, he laughed coldly. Shen Ji Yi, do you really think I killed Cheng Huai Shu? He snapped his head up. His eyes were full of mockery. You were the one who first desired my body. You were the one who first got into my bed. You were the one who gave me all kinds of affection. You introduced me to your friends, your family, and you told them you loved me. And except for a title, you could give me everything. You were the one who left him time and again to find me. You were the one who got pregnant with my child. I dared to provoke him. Wasn't it because you spoiled me first? Now that he's dead, you're putting all the blame on me. Shen Ji Yi's face was grim. She looked at him. Her eyes looked as if she were watching a joke. She was just about to open her mouth. The main door was pushed open again. Shen's mother rushed in and pushed her away. She helped Song Jin Nien up from the ground where he was kneeling. Then she slapped her hard across the face. Are you crazy? You're still pregnant. What if something happens to the baby? Shen Ji Yi's face was turned to the side from the slap. She only turned back after a moment, looking at Shen's mother in front of her. I don't intend to keep the child. Hearing this, Shen's mother was so angry she was speechless. Suddenly, she seemed to think of something. She tilted her head and instructed the servant behind her, take the young mistress to the hospital for a checkup. Don't move. Seeing that she was about to be taken away, Shen Ji Yi hurriedly shouted. Her score with Song Jin Nien wasn't settled yet. How could she leave? After speaking, she intended to grab Song Jin Nien's hand, but Shen's mother blocked her first. What are you still standing there for? Hurry and take the young mistress away. Following Mother Shen's order, the servants quickly carried Shen Ji Yi away. Mom, what are you doing? He killed Huai Shu. Mother Shen angrily slapped her again. What do you mean he killed Cheng Huai Shu? He just wasn't fated to live and died on his own. Daughter, it's not that I am lecturing you, since he's already dead. You should hurry up and marry Song Jin Nien. Soon your belly will be too big to fit into a wedding dress. Mother Shen was about to say more. Shen Ji Yi cut her off. That's enough. Mom, stay out of my business with Song Jin Nien. After saying that, Shen Ji Yi didn't look at Mother Shen anymore. Just then, her assistant came running over anxiously. President Shen, there's trouble at the company. I had just died. Countless CP fans of mine and Shen Ji's were devastated. They all couldn't believe it, that I really died from depression. The large number of fans began to look for suspicious points in my death. Finally, they found a clue. It was a live stream clip that a fan of Song Jin Nien's accidentally posted in a large group chat video. It came from a previous intimate encounter between Song Jin Nien and Shen Ji Yi. Although the live stream didn't have any visuals, but the female voice in it, anyone with ears could tell it was Shen Ji Yi. The entire internet immediately went into a frenzy. Then, more netizens dug up all sorts of evidence of Shen Ji Yi's affair with Song Jin Nien. And while she was having an affair with Song Jin Nien, I had developed depression because of it. So I didn't just simply get depression, but because of Shen Ji's affair. It ultimately led to my suicide. Then, an insider anonymously posted Shen Ji Yi's pregnancy test report, along with various photos of Shen Ji being intimate in public, with Song Jin Nian, videos, and the provocative messages that Song Jin Nian sent me. Very quickly, netizens flocked to Song Jin Yan's and Shen Ji's Weibo accounts, as well as the Shen Group's Weibo, angrily criticizing them. They could imagine how desperate I must have been at that time to resolutely choose to commit suicide by jumping into the sea in just one night. The reputations of Song Jin Nian, Shen Ji, and the Shen Group plummeted. Business partners simultaneously canceled their contracts with Song Jin Nian and demanded he pay hundreds of millions in breach of contract fees. Some fans even turned into anti-fans and went to the hospital where Song Jin Nian was staying to block him, throwing all sorts of filth at him. If it weren't for Mother Shen sending bodyguards to protect him, Song Jin Nian would have been scared to death. As for Shen Ji, because she had built an image of a doting wife for many years, as soon as the affair was exposed, countless business partners simultaneously canceled their contracts with the Shen Group. Shareholders also withdrew their investments, one after another. If she could have an affair after loving me for 10 years, then she could also, after many years of partnership with them, stab them in the back. Suddenly, the Shen Group was on the verge of collapse. The stock price plummeted. To stabilize the company, Shen Ji and Father Shen stayed at the company, busy all day to the point of getting headaches. But none of this had anything to do with me anymore. Since faking my death, I have settled in New Zealand with a new identity. I now have a new name, Shen Bai. I really like this name, and I also really like my current life. Back when my parents divorced, they left me a sum of money for my upbringing. Plus, the money Shen Ji gave me over the years. My current life is considered not bad. I opened a coffee shop in a small town. Sometimes tourists or neighbors come to chat with me. We have pleasant conversations. I even give them an extra cup of coffee I brewed myself. Bai, a familiar voice called from above. I turned my head and looked up happily, seeing Sunian walk in from the back door. "You're here." Sunian smiled and gently stroked my head, causing my ears to suddenly turn red, even though it's been so long. I am still not used to the affection she shows me. When I first arrived in New Zealand, I was lost and confused. At that time, I only wanted to escape from Shen Ji forever, so that she could never find me. When I finally escaped, I didn't know what to do next. At that time, Sunian took the initiative to help me. She introduced me to this small town, helped me gradually get on my feet in the town as we interacted with each other. The two of us gradually got to know each other better, but we never took that next step because I didn't dare to gamble again. In the past, she loved me for 10 years. Even someone like Shen Ji, who sacrificed half her life for me, still cheated. I really didn't have much energy left to invest in a new relationship, to gamble on the outcome of a new relationship. I think the way things are now is very good. Sunian also understood what I meant, and she didn't distance herself from me. She just treated me like a younger brother. "Didn't you say you wanted to eat hot pot the other day? The hot pot is ready. Come on, let's go to my place now." My eyes lit up. I eagerly agreed. I took 2 bottles of fruit wine from the counter and closed the shop. I followed her on the small path in the sunset. I just said it casually last time. I didn't expect you to. Actually, remember, this small town doesn't have a Chinese supermarket. If you want to buy the corresponding hot pot ingredients, you can only go to the bigger city further away to buy them. The round trip takes 3 to 4 hours. Sunian smiled without saying anything. She just opened the villa door for me and placed a pair of blue slippers in front of me. Inviting me in, my face turned slightly red. I thanked her in a low voice. Then I put on the slippers. Looking at the steaming hot pot in front of me, I handed the homemade fruit wine in my hand to Sunian opposite me. "This is the fruit wine I brewed myself. I hope you like it." She smiled and took it. Then I must taste it seriously. The slightly sweet wine flowed down her throat, making her eyes light up. "It tastes good." Shen Bai breathed a sigh of relief. The two of them ate hot pot while drinking wine, until late at night. Just then, the alarm I set suddenly rang. I quickly called out to the person washing dishes in the kitchen. "Sister Sunian, come out and see the aurora quickly." The two of them sat on the carpet, watching the aurora in the sky through the glass roof. The aurora's shape was ever-changing. The deep blue and soft jade green mirrored each other in the sky. Every moment was breathtakingly beautiful, as if we were in a beautiful, illusory dream. Even though I had seen the aurora many times, I was still conquered by its beauty. Forgetting the time, late at night, I naturally stayed in Sunian's living room. After wishing her a good night, I lay in bed and opened Douyin to watch domestic videos. Suddenly, a video popped up. Former CEO of Shen Group, Shen Ji, resigned due to personal issues. The eldest daughter of the Shen family, Shen Chushu, succeeded her as CEO, leading the Shen Group to start over. I saw this news. I was a little dazed. Not long after I left, the affair between Shen Ji and Song Jinnian was exposed. The Shen Group has business all over the globe, even in a remote place like New Zealand. They also had a branch. When Shen Ji's affair was exposed, not only did the domestic stock plummet, but the overseas branches were also deeply affected. The many branches were dissolved overnight, including the company here in New Zealand. When I saw this news, I thought I would feel gloating. After all, Shen Ji had hurt me deeply. But strangely, I felt no ripples in my heart, as if we had really become strangers. Thinking of this, I swiped past this video until my eyelids grew heavy. I finally put down my phone and fell asleep. The sky brightened again. When I just woke up, I saw that Sunian had already made breakfast. After I finished breakfast, Sunian then handed me an invitation to a ball. What is this? I took it curiously. Then I heard her explain who this is: a mid-autumn festival party organized by the Chinese people in town. The host sent invitations to all the Chinese people in town. If you're interested, you can go check it out. If you don't want to go, you don't have to pay it any mind. At this point, Sunian's eyes flickered with a hint of guilt. She has known me for so long and has never seen me attend any gatherings. It wasn't until she got to know me better that she realized I like peace and quiet. I am not very fond of lively places. She gave me the invitation, only thinking it would let me get out and relax and meet a few new friends, but she ended up forgetting this fact. I didn't answer Sunian's question. I just asked back curiously, "Do you want to go?" Sunian was taken aback. Then she smiled. "I don't have a problem with it." I touched the invitation in my hand. My heart was full of hesitation. She actually really likes lively places, but ever since I faked my death to keep a low profile, I haven't attended those gatherings. Because at parties, there are always people recording videos to post online. If by any chance an acquaintance recognized me and sent it to Shenji, then everything I had done before would be for nothing. And as a precaution, my coffee shop only has a small window for takeout customers. Customers only know my voice. They don't know what I look like. I pursed my lips, a guilty expression on my face. "I'm sorry, Sunian. I am afraid I can't go." Sunian chuckled, looking understanding. The two of them talked for a while longer. Then she stood up to take me home. On the day of the Mid-Autumn Festival, I was eating the mooncakes Sunian had sent over earlier while watching the full moon in the CX sky. Come to think of it, I haven't celebrated the Mid-Autumn Festival alone for a long time. When I was young, before my parents divorced, the thing I looked forward to most, besides the Spring Festival, was the Mid-Autumn Festival. My father would rush back from abroad, and my mother would personally cook, preparing a table of delicious, exquisite food. Later, when I was brought home by Shenji, every year during the Mid-Autumn Festival, no matter how busy she was, she would get off work early to be with me. It's just that later on, she was by Song Jinian's side instead, and from that moment on, there was no one left to celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival with me. I finished the last piece of mooncake. Just as I was about to get up and go to the lounge, the doorbell suddenly rang. I opened the door. Sunian's familiar face appeared before me. "Subai, happy Mid-Autumn Festival." My eyes flashed with surprise. If I remember correctly, even though Sunian isn't attending the Chinese ball today, she should be with her family who came from afar, watching the full moon together. Sunian seemed to guess what I was thinking. She smiled and handed me the gift in her hand. My parents wanted to travel to New Zealand. They just stopped by to visit me on the way. After dinner, they went back to their villa. I understood and quickly invited her in. Sunian immediately saw the half-eaten mooncake on the table. "You only ate this for dinner?" I was stunned, then nodded. I was about to say I wasn't hungry when my stomach rumbled loudly. I quickly clutched my stomach, my face tinged with a bit of embarrassment. Sunian sighed helplessly. "If I hadn't come, what if you got a stomachache tonight?" Because she often came to my house. She was very familiar with the layout of my home. She went straight to the kitchen, and as she opened the fridge, she turned and asked me, "Is fried rice okay?" I stood leaning against the kitchen doorway and nodded. Very quickly, a plate of fragrant fried rice was placed in front of me. Besides that, she also made a few stir-fried vegetable dishes. Just as she was about to turn around and clean the kitchen, I reached out and gently pulled her. "Can you eat with me?" The two of them just ate and chatted like that. Perhaps I never expected to have someone by my side during the Mid-Autumn Festival. For the first time, in front of Sunian, I let it all out, the loneliness and grievances that had been building up in my heart for a long time. When I first came to New Zealand, I was prepared to be alone for the rest of my life. After all, I was a complete stranger in this place. If I hadn't met you, I don't know what I would have done. Luckily, I met you. Sunian listened quietly. As I vented the loneliness in my heart, she silently took my hand, and I didn't push her away. In the middle of the night, I fell asleep. Sunian was about to turn and leave. Suddenly, her hand was grabbed by me. Sunian turned back and heard me mumbling, "Don't go." Her heart softened. She squeezed my hand and gently said, "I am here. I am not going anywhere." The sunlight streamed through the thin curtains, shining on the person in bed. I instinctively wanted to raise my hand to shield my eyes, but I found my hand was being held tightly. I tilted my head to look and saw Sunian sleeping soundly. I had seen her in many different states, but this was the first time I saw her sound asleep. I couldn't help but reach out to trace her face. A second later, the woman opened her eyes. Sunian looked at me without saying anything. "Good morning." She looked at me and then gave a radiant smile. "Good morning." After that day, the two of them still hadn't broken the paper-thin barrier between them. They just became a little more intimate than before. For example, she would proactively tell me her upcoming plans. "I have to go back to the country." I suddenly looked up at her. My eyes filled with confusion. As far as I know, the Su family's business is mostly overseas. There's very little in the country. Moreover, ever since Su's parents decided to settle in New Zealand, the domestic business has been managed by professionals. Sunian placed a glass of warm milk in front of me and smiled. The newly appointed CEO of the Shen Group is marrying the young master of the Meng family. The Meng family are my relatives on my mother's side. So as a relative, I also have to attend. Her fingers tapped on the table. Suddenly, the corner of her mouth curled up slightly. And get some revenge for you while I'm at it. My hand tightened around the glass. Ever since Shen Ji cheated, she was the first person to say she wanted to help me get revenge. Actually, I don't care what happens to Shen Ji anymore. After all, she's already facing her karma. Sunian took my hand again and said seriously, Subai, you are important to me. I don't want to see you being wronged, especially being wronged so badly. At the airport, I took the initiative to hug Sunian. I reminded her, be safe. Sunian hugged me back. She held on for a long time before letting me go and walked towards the boarding gate, the old Shen family villa. The current master of the Shen household is not Shen Ji, but her half-sister, Shen Shusho, because it was the wedding of the family heir. The servants were particularly diligent. They were up early in the morning decorating the villa and behind a window in the side house. Song Jinnian stood, silently, watching the scene before him with jealousy. Ever since his affair with Shen Ji was exposed, their social standing plummeted, and he was left with nothing. The Shen parents despised him because of this, and Shen Ji, because of the photos he had sent me, would stay out all night. If it weren't for Shen Ji, who was about to give birth to the Shen family's grandchild, he would probably be wandering the streets. Thinking of this, he looked at his own skinny frame. A bitter smile appeared on his lips, because he clearly understood his status. So, since he was brought back to the Shen family home, he reigned in his previous arrogance, becoming obedient and sensible. Whatever the Shen family gave him, Song Jinnian would take it. Things the Shen family didn't mention, Song Jinnian also didn't dare to ask. So up until now, Song Jinnian and Shen Ji only registered their marriage. They didn't hold a wedding ceremony. He used to dream that after forcing me away, how glorious he would be. How he would live a luxurious life after marrying Shen Ji, but now he's struggling like this, hiding behind a window, peeking at someone else's wedding, because he was the hidden party in the affair. So, Mother Shen had ordered Song Jinnian not to appear before the guests, but the real reason was she was afraid he'd be an embarrassment. Even after so much time has passed, when outsiders see Song Jinnian, they still openly bring up what happened that year, mocking Song Jinnian, mocking Shen Ji, mocking the Shen family. Some people even asked him how much for a bowl. Song Jinnian was both ashamed and embarrassed. In the end, it was Mother Shen who coldly drove the other person away. She also finally warned him not to go out unless necessary. The sky gradually brightened. The guests took their seats one by one. Sunian gave a wedding gift to Shen Shusho. They exchanged a few words. Just as she was about to leave, Shen Shushu suddenly spoke up. It's been so many years. Haven't you thought about finding someone to settle down with? Sunian rubbed her fingers and suddenly smiled. There is someone pursuing me. After the wedding ceremony was the evening banquet. Sunian held a glass of champagne and looked around. She didn't see any sign of Shen Ji. Just as she was about to ask, a commotion suddenly came from the annex building in the distance. Many guests were drawn by it. They all looked towards the source of the sound. They saw Shen Ji shielding a man behind her, looking at Song Jinnian in front of her with disgust. Sunian raised her eyebrows. Just as she was about to go closer for a better look, she saw that man turn his face. She was immediately stunned, because that man's face was almost identical to mine. In the distance, Song Jinnian clenched his fists tightly. He thought these days of staying in his place could earn him a little bit of pity from Shen Ji. As a result, not only did he get none, but she also brought back a person who looked almost identical to me. He was already the laughingstock of the entire city, but Shen Ji still wanted to continue humiliating him. Shen Ji, are you crazy? Cheng Huaizhu has been dead for 800 years. Now you're pretending to be deeply in love. Isn't it disgusting? Shen Ji's face suddenly darkened. Shut up. He is still alive and well. What are you talking about? I just coaxed him back. EC's willing to accept me again. To accept my child. If you continue to talk nonsense, then get the hell out. Song Jinnian was so angry his whole body trembled. His expression grew increasingly ugly. As for the me behind Shen Ji, as if watching a show and not afraid of making things worse, the corners of his eyes suddenly reddened. He gently pulled the corner of her shirt. Ji, it seems he doesn't like me very much. Maybe I should just leave. Shut up, you bastard. Before Song Jinnian could even reach out his hand, Shen Ji had already grabbed his hand. She pushed him back forcefully. Then she gripped his neck tightly, pinning him against the wall. Song Jinnian, if you dare to harm Yu again, don't expect to see the sun tomorrow. After speaking, she didn't look at the pale-faced man anymore. She carefully helped me into the villa. Song Jinnian was frozen for a long time before he came to his senses. He suddenly collapsed to the ground, gasping for air. He was almost choked to death by Shen Ji. With his emotions suppressed for too long, Song Jinnian couldn't take it anymore. Taking advantage of Shen Ji being off guard, he suddenly rushed towards her. Unexpectedly, the force was too strong. He directly pushed Shen Ji to the ground. A pool of blood flowed from Shen Ji's abdomen. The smell of amniotic fluid filled the air. My child, come quickly, save my child. Very quickly, the servants in the villa ran over. They hurriedly put Shen Ji into the car and rushed to the hospital. Not far away, the guests who had watched the whole drama clicked their tongues. They chattered animatedly. Even Sunian watched with great interest. She also chatted with the guest next to her. Didn't they say Shenji's fiancé committed suicide? Didn't she love her fiancé very much? Why did she suddenly bring someone back? Someone who looks so much like Cheng Huai-shu to act as a substitute. The guest next to her suddenly shushed her. I looked closely again, then whispered, "It's fine to know this yourself. Don't spread it around. Especially don't mention it in front of Shen Ji. Why?" She raised her eyebrows curiously. Then she heard the guest next to her continue. Ever since her fiancé died, and she herself was knocked off her pedestal, her mental state hasn't been very normal. She always says Cheng Huai-shu isn't dead. She says he's just angry with her, that he just temporarily ran away from home. She also says she has to go coax him back. At first, everyone thought she couldn't handle Cheng Huai-shu's death. That's why she was saying these delusional things. But one day after that, she really brought someone back. Someone who looked like Cheng Huai-shu. She said that person was her Shen family's man. They thought Shen Ji was joking. But after discovering Shen Ji was actually serious, everyone forced Shen Ji to go to the hospital for a checkup. Only then did they find out. Shen Ji's memories were in disarray due to the shock in her memory. When he found out she was cheating, he didn't jump into the sea to commit suicide. He just went abroad in a fit of anger. She coaxed him for a long time before he agreed to come back with her. And the condition was that after she gave birth, she would divorce Song Jinian and hold a new wedding ceremony with him. At the end of the story, the guest also laughed. Sunian also curled the corners of her mouth. Initially, Sunian planned to take matters into her own hands. Now it seems that's no longer necessary. She opened her phone and sent a message to me in New Zealand. Very quickly, the other side replied with a question mark. Is she sick? I am all the way over in Chongyang. When I learned that Shen Ji found a substitute, I couldn't help but shudder. Then I continued to reply to the message. From now on, anything about Shen Ji, I don't tell me anymore. I don't like to hear it. Only then did she put her phone away, satisfied. She watched Shen Chukshu after she heard the news, rush over to handle it. For something like this to happen on a happy day, no one wants that. She patted Shen Chukshu's shoulder sympathetically. Shen Chukshu gave her a bitter smile. When she turned to look towards the side house, her eyes turned to anger. It seems Shen Ji is no longer suitable to stay in the Shen family home. 3 days later, the Ming family held a dowry party. It was only then that Sunian heard the rest of the story from Shen Chushu. Shen Ji's panic led to a premature birth. The baby also had a congenital heart defect. It was soon put in the ICU. If it weren't for the Shen family's wealth, this baby would have been sentenced to death on the day it was born. As for Song Jinian, due to a series of events, the anger that had been suppressed for a long time finally erupted. On the day Song Jinian was forced by Mother Shen to go apologize to Shen Jie. Song Jinian, from who knows where, found the strength. He grabbed a knife and tried to stab the substitute. If the bodyguard with him hadn't been quick-witted and quick-handed, the substitute's face would have been ruined. Seeing her beloved's face almost get disfigured, Shen Ji became furious. She directly lunged at Song Jinian and choked him. As a result, Song Jinian's mindless fans appeared out of nowhere, directly wrestled with Shen Ji. During the argument, the two of them rolled down the stairs together and passed out. They still haven't woken up. As for that substitute, he got scared and ran off with the money a long time ago, which almost gave Mother Shen a stroke. Sunian suppressed the urge to smile. She took a few sips of tea, then said indifferently, "So the Shen family is in the news again." When Song Jinian and Shen Jiu were arguing, many patients saw it. Someone even live-streamed it. Shen Chu Shui wearily rubbed her forehead. Ever since I took over as CEO of Shen Corporation, Shen Ji and Song Jinian have been causing trouble every other day. I plan to wait for them to wake up and make them live in their own house. Mother Shen initially made a big fuss after hearing about it, until I threatened Mother Shen that if she continued to make a fuss, I would cut off Shen Ji's family's financial resources. Only then did Mother Shen obediently shut up. Once Shen Ji's family moves out, however they cause trouble in the future, will have nothing to do with me. At that time, I will issue a notice. Shen Ji's family no longer has any relationship with the main Shen family. Shen Chushu doesn't want to clean up their mess anymore. Sunian didn't ask any more about this matter. She just sent me a text about the related events, then started preparing to return to New Zealand. After being apart for so long, she missed me a little. 3 months later, Shen Subai met Sunian again. The two embraced tightly, looking at each other without a word. After a long while, I lowered my head to look at her. Long time no see. Her eyes crinkled. She hugged me back. Long time no see. The two of them just held hands like that and turned to walk out of the airport. But they didn't notice that not far behind them, a girl holding a phone suddenly widened her eyes. Shen Ji's half-sister, Shen Chushu, watched the two figures leave. She clutched her own wrist tightly. What did she just see? She saw that Cheng Huai-shu was still alive, but Shen Ji clearly remembers me jumping into the sea to commit suicide. Shen Ji even witnessed the cremation with her own eyes. How could a person die and come back to life? Unless I never died. Xu Shui had seen me very early on, but at that time, Shen Xu Shui didn't think much of it. After all, there are many people in this world who look alike. Until I talked and hugged that beautiful woman, only then did she become suspicious of me. She lowered her head and replayed the video she had just secretly recorded several times, carefully observing each frame. Finally, With trembling hands, she sent the video to Shen Chuzhu. The reason she didn't send it to Shen Jiyi was because she was afraid Shen Jiyi would get agitated and cause trouble. Then she would have no way to voice her suffering. Very quickly, Shen Chuzhu's phone lit up. Shen Chuzhu didn't ask about my current situation. She just said indifferently, "If you want Shen Jiyi to die, then send this video to her." Shen Chushui bit her lip, her face full of hesitation. After all, that was her younger sister. She couldn't bear to let her sister go mad again because of me. But she also didn't want her sister to continue living in a fantasy, depressed all day. In the end, she still chose to send the video to Shen Jiyi. Only then did she turn and leave. In the backseat of the car, I listened with great interest, as Sunian told me interesting stories from back home, occasionally chiming in with a few words. As soon as we entered the living room, Sunian's phone suddenly rang. Sunian answered the call. After listening to the person on the other end, her expression suddenly darkened. She turned her head to look at me. I didn't understand. I saw Sunian hang up the phone and walk towards me. She hugged me tightly. Her words carried a slight tremble. "Subai, she knows that you're still alive." Sunian didn't say it explicitly, but I also know who she is. My heart sank. I looked at Sunian. "So what?" Sunian hugged my waist and said, "But don't you worry. She can't come. Shen Chushui won't let her cause any more trouble, so she's being kept in the hospital. Besides, her leg is broken right now. She can't travel far." Sunian smiled. A cold glint flashed in her eyes. "When you came to the airport to pick me up, you were accidentally filmed by Shen Jiyi's sister." Even though Shen Chushui had warned her many times, she still forwarded the video to Shen Jiyi. The rest of the words, Sunian didn't continue. She just patted my back reassuringly, telling me she would handle everything. She wouldn't let that person find me. I lowered my gaze. The things Shen Jiyi and I needed to say were all said on the day I committed suicide. I don't want to see Shen Jiyi again. Nor do I want to hear Shen Jiyi's explanation. Cheating is cheating. There's no need for a reason. The two of us just sat on the sofa like that, leaning close against each other. On this side, there was a piece of tranquility, but in a certain hospital back home, things were in chaos. Shen Jiyi, despite her recently healed leg, struggled to break free from the bodyguard's restraint. She wanted to come to New Zealand to find me. Ever since I died, in her heart, she still refused to accept the news of my death. Even though Shen Jiyi saw my body with her own eyes, even though she personally scattered my ashes into the sea, Shen Jiyi still held a vague belief in her heart that I wasn't dead. To deceive herself, she drank all day, and even ended up finding someone who was 80% similar to me, using that substitute's face. She began to create a false story to deceive herself, until Shen Chushu sent the video clip. The moment she finally saw that I was alive, her dead heart was revived, and her whole being broke free from the delusion. Shen Jiyi didn't know how I faked my death to escape, nor did she know how I got to New Zealand. She only knew I was still alive. I wasn't dead. An ecstatic joy burst in her chest. Shen Jiyi, despite her recently healed leg, was about to rush out of the hospital room to find me. She wanted to tell me that she still loved me, that she had never forgotten me. She wanted to marry me again, but the bodyguards were like a solid wall. No matter how Shen Jiyi charged at them, they didn't budge. Just then, a tall figure hurried over from the end of the hallway. The bodyguards saw Shen Chushui arrive and quickly let go of Shen Jiyi. Then Shen Chushui slapped her across the face. "How long are you going to keep making a scene? I told you Trin Hoai Hook was alive because I wanted you to snap out of your depression and delusion, not so you could go looking for Trin Hoai Hook. Think about what you've done. Do you even have the nerve to go find him? Do you think Trin Hoai Hook will forgive you? If Trin Hoai Hook really wanted to forgive you, he could have just told you directly, instead of faking his death and changing his name. Shen Jiyi, do you have any shame?" One slap after another, Shen Chushui struck the woman in front of her hard. Her eyes were full of disgust. 1. She was disgusted that Shen Jiyi claimed to love me while sleeping with another man. 2. When the Shen family stocks plummeted because of her, Shen Jiyi just got drunk all day, ignoring everything, because she had just recovered from a serious illness. Shen Jiyi had no strength to fight back at all. She was directly pushed to the ground and beaten by Shen Chu. Xua. She struggled, curled up on the ground. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. Shen Chushui didn't look at her anymore. She instructed the bodyguards to watch her closely, then turned and left. In the empty room, only Shen Jiyi was left alone. Shen Jiyi finally couldn't bear the pain and let out a moan. Cheng Huai Shu. Tears of regret blurred her vision. In that moment, Shen Jiyi recalled the past. In that time, she was in a serious car accident. I didn't sleep for 3 days and 3 nights. I was always by her side until she woke up. Everyone said I was a good guy. They told her to cherish me. But in the end, she still lost me. Sleeping with Song Jinnian was just a whim. But because Song Jinnian was more uninhibited in bed than I was, passionate, bold, so Shen Jiyi gradually became addicted to Song Jinnian. Shen Jiyi then thought to continue this relationship with Song Jinnian because she couldn't bear to give up his body. So when she found out she was pregnant, she also couldn't bear to abort the baby, even after getting married. She still wanted to continue with him, to maintain this secret relationship. Shen Jiyi had even thought ahead. What excuses she would prepare to deceive me after marriage, to continue seeing Song Jinnian behind my back, But I am not a fool, and Song Jin Nian is not someone easily satisfied. Her plan hadn't even been put into action when it was exposed by Song Jin Nian. I didn't hesitate to fake my death to escape her. Song Jin Nian didn't hesitate to risk his life to marry into her family. The former no longer loved her. The latter was only in it for the money. In this world, there is no one left who loves Shen Ji like I did. She covered her face in pain, sobbing silently. After Sunian comforted me for a while, I no longer paid attention to Shen Ji. Right now, I have a more awkward matter to deal with. Sunian, after getting drunk, finally took the initiative to break the barrier between us. The two of us just vaguely got entangled with each other. After that, I originally intended to act like nothing happened. After all, we're both adults. But Sunian was like a child, pouting and demanding that I take responsibility. Seeing Sunian look at me with a wronged expression, I momentarily softened and nodded. I raised my scratched-up arm and slapped my face. How could I have vaguely agreed like that? Later, as my relationship with Sunian gradually stabilized, I finally agreed to return to the country with her, to meet her friends and relatives back home. From the moment we got off the plane to the old SU family villa, besides the SU family and Sunian's close friends, no one knew that I had returned to the country, and I was also especially well protected by her, besides the SU family members and Sunian's close friends. I didn't meet anyone else, so I didn't know that Shen Ji was standing outside the SU family villa, waiting for me in the rain all night. Shen Ji found out I had returned because she accidentally overheard a conversation between Shen Chushe and the butler. For the past few months, Shen Chushe had used her power to keep Shen Ji confined in the country, not allowing her to go abroad to find me. Now that I was finally back in the country, back in the capital city, she naturally wanted to seize this opportunity, but as night fell, the rain poured down. The person she was waiting for still didn't appear. Under the dim wall light, two intertwined figures were reflected, until I heard a soft moan. I wrapped a blanket around Sunian and carried her to the bathroom. After another passionate struggle, Sunian finally fell asleep in my arms. When she woke up, Shen Subai was already asleep. Sunian gave me a light kiss, then got dressed and got up, and quietly left the room. As soon as she got downstairs, the butler came to greet her. Hasn't she left? Sunian sat on the sofa and took a sip of red wine. That's right, miss. That person hasn't left. She's still standing outside in the rain. Sunian frowned, stood up and walked to the main door. In the dark night, Sunian held a black umbrella, coldly looking at Shen Ji in front of her. Miss Shen, you seem to have a lot of free time. At this moment, Shen Ji, her face pale, finally moved her body, emotionlessly looking at the woman in front of her. The bitterness suppressed in her throat finally surged up, although the Su family's door wasn't open. But she could also see two figures entangled on the second floor. I knew it was me and Sunian. Shen Ji seemed to see the scene of the two of us entangled. Her heart ached as if cut by a knife. Shen Ji wanted to escape but couldn't. She could only watch that room helplessly. The lights turned on, then off. She suddenly remembered that time. She and Song Jinian were intimate next to me. Was I just like her now? Back then, in so much pain it was hard to breathe. Before, Shen Ji didn't understand why I left her so decisively, even to the point of faking my death, until today, when she experienced it herself. The scene I had experienced countless times. She finally felt my despair. No one can be generous enough to watch the person they love be intimate with someone else. She opened her mouth, finally pleading, "Can I see him?" The only response she got was a hard punch from Sunian. "What right do you have to see him?" Standing in the rain for so long made her whole body stiff. She had no chance to fight back at all. She could only stumble backward. Sunian took the towel handed to her by the butler. She disgustedly wiped the hand she had just punched with, then threw the towel at Shen Jia's feet. "Call the Shen family." After saying that, Sunian didn't look at her again. She turned and entered the villa's gate, slamming the door in Shen Ji's face again. A loud clap of thunder. Lightning tore across the sky, illuminating her bloodless face. She could no longer stand steady, and stumbled to the ground. A few days later, Shen Ji developed a high fever from being in the rain that wouldn't go down. She kept calling my name in her delirium. Beside her, Song Jinian's face was full of despair. He sat emotionlessly on a chair, watching her without moving. Ever since he was called the third party, to when he fought with Shen Ji, fell down the stairs, and lost consciousness, missing the last moments with the baby. His love for her had long since vanished. Now, Song Jinian's heart was filled only with hatred and helplessness. His current outcome was all because of the person in front of him, but he also knew clearly, after being pampered by her for years, he had long lost the ability to live independently. Song Jinian couldn't leave. If he were ever without her, he truly couldn't survive. No one wants to hire a man with a scandalous reputation. The only thing he could do now was to cling tightly to her. Thinking of this, Song Jinian moved his hand and pressed the bell beside him. Soon, a team of doctors rushed in and gave Shen Ji emergency treatment. Late into the night, Shen Ji's fever finally broke. Waking up after a serious illness, she looked at Song Jinian before her. There was no more hatred, only understanding. After all, both she and Song Jinian were at fault in this matter. They had both wronged me. She looked at him for a long time and finally opened her mouth. "Let's get a divorce." Like a bolt from the blue, Song Jinian's calm face immediately turned pale. He shook his head frantically. No, I won't divorce you. With a thud, Song Jinian knelt before her. His words were full of pleading. I am begging you, don't divorce me. Where did I go wrong? Can you tell me? I'll fix it, I'll fix it. But Shenji tiredly closed her eyes. You were wrong, and I was wrong too. So isn't it better for us to stop in time? Song Jinian kept shaking his head, refusing to divorce no matter what. She acted as if she didn't hear, and continued. After the divorce, I will transfer our villa to your name. I'll also give you 5 million as compensation. Let's break up peacefully. Song Jinian was about to open his mouth. Mother. Shen suddenly burst into the hospital room. She slapped her across the face. What do you mean, divorce? If you still insist on divorcing, your father will kick you out of the Shen family. He will also take back all the shares under your name. What will you have to compete with your sister then? Besides, you and he can have more children. What if it makes your father happy? Maybe your father will let you return to the company. Shenji covered her swollen face. She suddenly burst out laughing. Now she had lost the person she cherished most. This money was no longer important to her. No matter how Mother Shen tried to persuade her, Shenji was still determined to divorce Song Jinian. 1 year later, Shenji and Song Jinian became a hot topic again. The last time they were a hot topic, it was because their intimate photos and videos were exposed. But this time, it was because when they went to the civil affairs office to file for divorce, Song Jinian took out a knife from somewhere. He stabbed directly at Shenji. Luckily, a staff member nearby reacted in time and quickly pushed him away, which helped Shenji escape death. After dozens of hours of emergency treatment, Shenji was moved from critical condition to the ICU. As for when she would wake up, it was unclear. As for Song Jinian for the crime of attempted murder, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Regarding this couple's fate, netizens applauded in unison. Even I, who accidentally came across a related video, couldn't help but sigh. Once infinitely glorious, the powerful Shenji who commanded the business world ended up with such a fate. I closed my eyes and suddenly remembered when I was 16, the spirited girl said that she would build her own empire in the business world, and when she grew old she would show it off to her children. But now, she could only lie on a hospital bed relying on a ventilator to stay alive, let alone the future. Even waking up was an uncertainty. I turned off my phone and was about to stand up when the butler suddenly entered. He had an awkward expression. Sir, there are people outside claiming to be your biological parents. They want to see you. I suddenly looked up. Who did you say wants to see me? After listening to the butler's detailed explanation, I finally understood clearly. It was my parents who had been divorced for many years and had started new families who wanted to see me. Back then, after those things happened to me and after I faked my death, my biological parents finally remembered this abandoned son. But because the dead cannot be resurrected, they finally gave up the idea of seeing me one last time. Now, hearing from people in our circle that I came back from the dead and am in the country, so they want to see me, I listened quietly, without any reaction. Instead, it was Sunian who walked over and hugged my waist. They're not really here to see you. They're here to ask for an investment from the SU family. I looked at her, confused. Your father's company is having cash flow problems, which has brought the company close to bankruptcy. As for the company of your mother's new husband, it's also going bankrupt due to poor management. Initially, they wanted to find me, but I ignored them, so they thought of trying to approach you. There wasn't much surprise in my eyes. After all, they both abandoned me when they divorced. It's clear, they don't love me. Not to mention, they both have their own families now. Any love they had for me has probably long vanished. Thinking of this, I didn't say anything more. I just shook my head at the butler and intended to go upstairs to rest. As for the reaction of those parents, I didn't care anymore. And outside the door, when they learned I didn't want to see them, the Cheng parents were first stunned. Then they started arguing loudly in disbelief. The butler looked at them coldly. When the young master needed you the most, you never showed up. Now, on what grounds? Do you expect him to help you? The two of them were stunned, but they couldn't say a word. In a flash, Sunian and I had been in the country for nearly a month. During this month, Sunian took me to meet all the relatives and friends of the Su family. I also received their warm affection. On the day we returned to New Zealand, the sunlight was just right. We reluctantly said goodbye to our friends and boarded the plane to go home. Meanwhile, in the hospital's ICU room, perhaps sensing my departure, from the corner of Taber de Vrelis Induction, Shenji's closed eyes on the hospital bed. 2 streams of tears also fell. Shenji recalled a long time ago, the day I committed suicide. I asked her if she fell in love with someone else. She should tell me. I definitely wouldn't hold on. If she cheated on me, I would make sure she could never find me for the rest of her life. Seeing now that she really did cheat on me, I also no longer wanted to see Shenji ever again. Then Shenji's heart began to ache. Her breathing became rapid. The warning sound suddenly rang out. A group of doctors rushed into the hospital room and began to resuscitate her. The hands on the wall clock went round and round. Finally, the heart monitor beside her issued an alert. The alert then turned into a flat line. Despite being used to life and death, the emergency doctor still sighed. It was clear that Shenji's vitals were stable before. Why did it? Suddenly, informed the family, on the day of Shenji's funeral, Sunian and I also came. We just stood silently from a distance, holding a black umbrella, calmly watching them carry the coffin, place the coffin, bow, and place flowers, then fill the grave and erect the tombstone, watching person after person dressed in black, holding umbrellas, silently walking up to Shen Jiyi's tombstone, bowing 3 times, then silently leaving. In the end, only Sunyan and I were left in the cemetery. I don't know how long it had been. I finally moved. I slowly walked to Shen Jiyi's tombstone, looking at the photo on it. The Shen Jiyi on the tombstone was her as a young girl. Back then, her face was full of smiles. Her eyes were full of love for me and anticipation for the future. In an instant, in my mind, countless memories of our time together appeared. At 15, she held my hand and firmly told my parents if they don't want him, I do. At 16, Shen Jiyi mustered all her courage to confess to me, saying she would only love me her whole life. At 24, Shen Jiyi spent hundreds of millions to marry me, begging me not to leave. She said that without me, she would go crazy. At 28, on the night before the wedding, Shen Jiyi had an affair with Song Jinnian. She started to cheat on me constantly. She started staying out all night. At 29, I jumped into the sea to commit suicide 3 days before the wedding. From then on, they never saw each other again. At 30, they met again. But it was a scene of being separated by life and death. The hatred in my heart for Shen Jiyi also vanished at this moment. It's not that I don't hate her. It's just that she's not important anymore. To me, she's just a passerby in my life. I never expected. Less than half a month after attending Shen Jiyi's funeral, I attended another funeral. The deceased was Song Jinnian. Song Jinnian was originally serving his sentence. After hearing the news of Shen Jiyi's death, he also committed suicide. He wasn't sad because of her death, but rather, he was afraid, because after losing his biggest supporter, he would be left with nothing upon release from prison. Due to excessive worry and fear, Song Jinnian developed a mental illness. He was eventually sent to a mental hospital and died by jumping off a building, because at that time he was frantically stabbing people. Their paperwork wasn't finalized, so, in the household register, he and Shen Ji are still husband and wife, according to the unspoken rules of their circle. In the end, Song Jinnian was still buried next to Shen Ji's tombstone. Looking at the 2 adjacent tombstones, I curled my lips into a sarcastic smile. This is good too. Entangled for a towel. Lifetime, they can continue to be entangled in the next life and stop harming other people. After attending the 2 funerals, Sunian and I returned to our villa in New Zealand. She leaned into my arms, quietly watching the TV in front of us. I held Sunian's hand. Since we came back, my mood has been low. I felt lethargic doing anything, so she took time to take me out to relax. From the lavender fields in Florence, to the snowy fields of the Alps, and then to the maple leaf roads in Canada, I finally returned to my old self. I turned my head to look at Sunian, who was beside me, teasing me to make me laugh. I took the initiative to hold her hand. After experiencing their 2 funerals, I finally understood many things, and I also understood my feelings for Sunian. So on 5th Avenue at sunset, I took the initiative to kiss Sunian's lips. Sunian, marry me. 1 year later, Sunian and I had our wedding in a church. As the melodious piano music played, Sunian, wearing a pure white wedding dress, slowly walked into the church and came to my side. The moment the wedding ring was placed on her finger, this normally cold and composed person's eyes turned red. She shed tears. Subai, thank you for being willing to marry me. I curled my lips into a smile. The corners of my eyes were red. Sunian, thank you for being willing to love me, for giving me a home. The moment the ceremony was completed, we kissed amidst the sound of bells. After getting married, my life with Sunian wasn't much different than before. I would still, in the first moment I opened my eyes, see her looking at me with a smile. I would also still receive her goodnight kiss before sleeping. We were still like before. 3 meals, 4 seasons, traveling to see all the beautiful scenery in the world. From now on, for the rest of our lives.